And one of the things that when we did it with your organization back then, we used a QR code, and the patrons would access it through the QR code. But at that time, it would only collect analytics of how many people were actually looking at the program, of course, which was good for advertisers, because we could go back and say, here's how many people saw your ad. But the organizations that we worked with wanted more. They wanted to collect data. They wanted to know who the people were that were sitting in the seats. They wanted to know what kind of data leakage they were getting. And so we have redesigned and renamed it, and it's now Audience Access, which provides much more than just a program on your smart device. And I'd like to ask you, when you compare the first version that you used to today's, what do you see different?
Well, night and day difference. I mean, you guys have done a fantastic job iterating the program, over the years. I think that some of the things that pop out to me as being great improvements. One, the ease of actually creating the program. I think you all do a webinar series where you actually create a basic program live. Right. And, in a 15-minute webinar, I think you can create the entire program. I mean, so that is so much easier. The ability to gather information, you mentioned when the first version that we had in Indie Opera, they had to scan a QR code. Well, now when they register, now you're getting their phone number, you're getting their email. So now you're collecting pieces of information that now you can sync back in with your CRM. And that information is going to give you engagement. We are all looking, the business world has been dealing with this for decades and is really good at it. I mean, if you think about Amazon or any of the big online tech retailers, Apple, others, are really good about measuring levels of engagement. Again, I want to return to that, that idea of a customer journey, moving that customer along the journey. What Audience Access does now, which is wonderful, is not only does it collect that information back, but it also allows us to re-engage. So with the texting function that you have as a result of gathering that information, you can now be proactive with your audience in delivering messages. In this COVID world that we're living in, from a base level, contact tracing. Right. I mean, when we actually all get back into theaters, I think the theater world is going to change. Well, I know it's going to change dramatically from the pre-COVID time. I mean, we are already moving away from paper tickets to contactless entry via our smart devices. We are seeing, really innovative inventory models now in ticketing, where depending on, what the restrictions are in any given geographical area, you can reconfigure your house to maximize revenue. Things like being able to pre-order concessions, pre-order things so that you're not having to stand in line, so you can keep a little bit more socially distant. So Audience Access, by using a text function, you're able to proactively deliver information to people who are in the hall that are going to help customize their experience, that are going to help shape what they're doing in the hall and potentially before they ever get into the hall. Because theoretically, a organization could use the texting function in the program as the person has downloaded it prior to coming to the hall to be able to direct them to places like parking, or to be able to direct them, to work with advertisers, maybe to put together special pre-show or post-show options. Another thing that organizations constantly need to be doing now is we constantly need to be learning organizations. So the ability to send out surveys post the event. A lot of ticketing systems have pre-show, post-show surveys. Well, that's great, but what if you have the immediacy of actually being able to deliver that on the phone in a text message in real time, or a link to that post-show survey that then goes back into the ticketing system? And so now you're getting a 360-degree view of your patron. And that is so important, and the program shouldn't be left out in that. If you think about a paper program, that program often gets left on the seat or on the ground, and it doesn't contribute at all to you being able to engage with your patron or engage with the corporation that's purchased ads in that program. So audience access, the texting feature, the ability to put that together, the ability to work with corporations and actually customize their ads. So you've got custom landing pages and triggers on the corporate side. So if they're doing customer journeys, they know that they can, based on a trigger in the program, be able to script a customer journey saying, hey, Kevin just went to X event, a symphony event in Cleveland with the Cleveland Orchestra. And now because he went there, we're going to put him and clicked on that link in the digital program. We're going to put him on a special customer journey and reach out to him because we know he's an art supporter.
Yeah.
So there are all of those things now that you can do with audience access that, look, you can't do it with a paper program. It just doesn't exist. You can't get there from here.